Roll call.
Mayor Connie Ball.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bill Costner.
Here.
Alderman John Bugg.
Here.
Alderman Freddie Gregg.
Here.
Alderwoman Kathy Hope. Here. Alderman Kenny Morgan.
Here.
City Attorney Terry Host.
Here.
City Administrator Scott Collins.
Here. Thank you. Item 3 is approval of the minutes of the previous meetings. The first one being regular session August the 9th, 2011. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion or corrections? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item B is a special call meeting, August the 30th, 2011. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion or corrections? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item 4 is proclamations and recognition of citizens tonight. We have plaques here that we're going to present to various businesses that were instrumental in sponsoring the Showcase on the River. I'm going to call each company's name out, and if the representative would come forward, I'll present you with a plaque, and then we'll gather in a group once we finish and make one group picture of all the sponsors. Walmart was the overall presenting sponsor, also had over 50 volunteers. If a representative from Walmart would come forward. Who spent the most money this week at Walmart? Okay, well, we can't get any takers. Okay, we do appreciate them. We want that to be known. Cindy Moyers sponsored the Cornhole Toss tournament, and I understand she's at another meeting and unable to be here this evening. National Bank of Tennessee sponsored Pirates at the Pigeon Cardboard Boat Race. I know we've got fun here. Just stand back here, Fuddy, and we'll get everybody together here in a minute. Kathy Hote sponsored the Heritage Hall Pit Stop Mobile. You don't need to sit down for a picture. You're not standing. Thank you. Newport Utilities sponsored God, Family, and Country Day. Jeff? Thank you, Jeff. And Newport Paving Kids Fun Zone. You got anyone here from Newport Paving? Okay. Let's give everyone a hand. How do we need to line up for this picture to include the whole council?
Well, you could probably just put them behind you, and
okay.
Probably need to move in or stand.
Okay.
Because I don't have that behind
I believe she can do it.
Understand that?
Yeah, I got it on my stand up.
Okay, just stand. Everybody stand.
No, I think there ain't no way you're going to let me sit there. I'm just right there.
See? Hey, right.
Okay. Well, now I'm going to have to get everybody to kind of go in and angle like that and kind of scoot in. Yeah, I still have it. I take the angle.
You know we were so photogenic.
Come on, Nelson.
Beacon Day.
1, 2, 3. You can take a couple more. Yeah, that's good. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And then take one more shot. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Good, thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thanks, bud. Nelson, I'm going to give you this. That's got those sponsors and they were not present, so.
You know that.
We appreciate it.
I do have a couple of cards to read here. This one is from Francis Leatherwood, thanking everyone for the benefit lunch and the funds that was raised was helpful. I love and appreciate all of you, and I'm sure that same thing goes for Sheila and her family as well. And a thank you card was also sent to Scott and the city on behalf of the AMVETS Post 75 for thinking of all the veterans on August the 20th and 21st. And it has Dale Brown, Commander, along with all of the members' signatures on that card. Also, I received a letter from Jefferson County Utility District that I'd like to read from Tommy Bible, General Manager. On Monday of this week, a contractor damaged a 6-inch natural gas steel line, causing it to rupture. This was a very dangerous situation and could have caused considerable damage to life and property. I want to thank Police Chief Maurice Schultz and his entire staff, excuse me, along with the Fire Chief Randy Reagan and his entire staff for the extraordinary effort they dedicated to the situation to make sure life and property was protected. Both departments worked extremely well with Jefferson County Utility District staff to properly, professionally, and safely secure the site. Jefferson County employees did an outstanding job of repairing the rupture, and the teamwork with the Newport Police Department and Newport Fire Department was outstanding. Let's give them a hand. I'd like to take just a moment to brag on our police department. In the last few weeks, been listening on the radio and being actually almost a part of the action. Our officers were involved in a couple of pursuits that ended up in apprehension of some criminals. And I just want to brag on Maurice, the police department, and all those officers, and I can't remember who all was there, but you're well served by the police department in their professional ability to handle situations such as they did, and I think they deserve a hand. Okay, Scott, report please.
Mayor, I do have some issues to report on. The first one being the Riverwalk. In response to the hitting the gas line, we had a meeting with TDOT officials, the contractors, engineers, and everyone involved in the project itself, and a determination was made to simply pour the Riverwalk underneath the McSween Bridge and do away with the previous design of the boardwalk under there. And that work has been completed. They've already poured the steps on the west side of the bridge, and they put approximately about 30-35 feet of the walkway already. They're from under the bridge already. And as y'all can see in the back, they've came down to the City Hall property line, so they're making great progress, and it's expected to be totally completed by the end of the month. Next issue is on another grant, the transfer station. Anybody that's driven by the recycling center lately can certainly see the progress now. And they're about 2 to 2.5 weeks out from being fully complete with that. Two other quick issues I want to touch on. We have went to bid on the local parks and recreation fund grants. That's for the tennis courts and basketball improvements, as well as a new Linerford swimming pool. Them bids will be in the paper this week, and the bids will be opened on the day of our workshop in October, so we can discuss it the first Tuesday in October at our workshop. Two other somewhat related issues, or actually three. We had to close out with FEMA on the tornado damage. Everything's been taken care of except for us getting reimbursed for the expenditures. But we stand to get $152,000 back from FEMA in response to the tornado damages. Also, last week when we had the serious rainfall, a couple of the property owners that bordered the river had some concerns about what happens if the Pigeon River comes out the banks. So met with the police chief, fire chief, and David Cody with the EMA, and there is a process in place to where they do a reverse 911 call to notify everybody, and there's a detailed plan in place, and we're sharing that with some of the property owners. And the last thing, TDOT, the regional office, has contacted us and said they do have some tiles that they're going to make available to the city of Newport to start, and I stress the word start, on some repairs or drainage areas in the Martini Street area. That's, of course, the number one priority. And we're also getting prepared to do some work on the area that comes down behind Indian Hills, to where we had a property owner lose a portion of his backyard due to the erosion. So that work will be coming forth within the next couple of weeks, is our plans. And Mayor, other than the two items we need to add on to the agenda, that's all I have at this time.
Okay, do you want to discuss those now?
Well, yes, sir.
Okay, that'd be
With the board's permission. The first issue will be a tax anticipation note. And even though it's called a tax anticipation note, in actuality, this one is going to be a grant anticipation note. We have spent out over $600,000 so far on the various grants. The Riverwalk is a small portion of it. The transfer station, sanitation transfer station, is a large portion of it. We've also made some payments on the Tanner Cultural Center with the roof repairs, over $75,000 on it. All of this has been spent out, and of course every single grant, including FEMA, which I mentioned, we spent out over $100,000 on that. All of this is reimbursement style grants, and so our general fund's taken over a $600,000 lick in the past few weeks, and we simply need to do a tax anticipation note to allow us to get money, and then of course that note will be paid off per Tennessee Code annotated prior to June 30th. The next issue is in response to the meeting that State Representative Jeremy Faison had with TDOT officials, and that's in regard to exit 438, a resolution.
Okay. The resolution for the tax anticipation note, we'll just put that on the floor for discussion, or a motion to go ahead and approve. Scott taking care of that.
Suspend the rules, please.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend the rules. Okay.
Can we do both of them? We can add both of them in one motion. I make a motion to suspend the rules and add both of them.
Okay, do we have a second? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. Okay, unanimous. Now, do we have a motion or discussion on the tax anticipation note?
Mayor, I'll make the motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. You're done. The resolution in support of Exit 438 project, I'll read that to council and the general public. This is resolution number 2011-21, support of Exit 438 project. Whereas the Cocke County Partnership has been working on behalf of the City of Newport and Cocke County to provide growth opportunities and improvements to the area known as Exit 438, and whereas the City of Newport Board of Mayor and Aldermen wish to express their great support of the Exit 438 project, and whereas the Exit 438 project will provide better quality roads and an improved infrastructure system that will benefit all the citizens of Newport and Cocke County, and whereas the City of Newport Board of Mayor and Aldermen supports the Cocke County Legislative Board efforts on moving this vital project forward. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Newport Board of Mayor and Aldermen joins in great appreciation the efforts of the Cocke County Mayor, Cocke County Legislative Board, and the Cocke County Partnership, the Tennessee Department of Transportation, state and local government agencies, the citizens of Newport and Cocke County, business owners, and all others involved that are striving to make the Exit 438 project a reality for the benefit of all. Now it be resolved by the City of Newport Board of Mayor and Aldermen on this 13th day of September 2011. Do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
I'll make the motion, and I would like to say that we attended, I think Kathy and Bill and the mayor was there. TDOT came and explained a lot about this project and how it was going to be funded, and I think there were several members from CLB. I don't recall exactly how many, but seven members from the CLB was here as well. We were able to listen to Paul Diggs, who's the deputy commissioner, and get a real explanation of where the project's at. He also let us know that the holdup had been the fact that we had contract had been sent to the county mayor's office and had essentially been in limbo for 8 months. So I think as we began to discuss this and felt like we need to reissue a statement of support for the CLB and what they're trying to get done, I think Norman Smith did a great job of clarifying that the CLB would in fact sign that contract or authorize the mayor to sign it as soon as it comes forward. So I think this is a great opportunity for the city to step forward once again. We've done this a couple times, to reissue our support again for the project and to get things done as far as the project goes. Also, that it's a great opportunity for the infrastructure to be built up there. It's going to help to connect the roads. It's funded. It's going to be a low-risk investment for the county. So I think it's a great opportunity for everybody, and I hope that community will get behind it and gain an understanding of what the project's about, not just speculative to develop the development to that exit. No matter if the guy Vanderwood spends a ton of money or he doesn't, somebody will eventually develop that exit. So it's a blessing that TDOT has come forward with so much money. It's a $25 million project. There's no way that Cocke County could ever do that alone. So the feds have stepped up, the state has stepped up. There's no way I think the feds would put that much money into such a project had they not thought it through and addressed it. So I feel confident in supporting this, and I'll be happy to make the motion.
And I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but he did indicate 20 or 25 years that he's been working doing projects of this nature, and he has never had one of these exit projects that he's been involved in that was not it was totally a success, each one. So, you know, it's a win-win situation for our county. So we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I do have an announcement to share here that concerning TDOT, there will be an enhancement grant announcement made as to be completed at Newport Greenway Phase 1 north of City Hall. It'll take place on September the 28th at 11 a.m. And this will be an enhancement grant announcement, September 28th, 11 a.m. north of City Hall between McMahon and Purple Heart Avenue. Okay, moving to item 6, library board appointment. I did receive a letter from the Cobb County Library Board recommending us to nominate Alvin Watts to complete the term of Gene Branham, who has resigned. And I'd like to go on record that council does support that decision with approval. So if we have a motion to approve my recommendation along with theirs.
Mayor, I will be absolutely enthused to make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Moving on to item 9, new business. Item A is Resolution 2011-20, Recreation Trails Program. Do we have a motion to approve that?
Make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item B, consideration of Newport Housing Authority quitclaim deed. Do we have a motion to approve that or discussion?
I'll make a motion.
I think we need to discuss it.
Okay.
Are we going to give this property away? Has anybody ever looked at it?
I live over there.
How big is this lot?
You can't even get down to it. I mean, it's the only people that's going to benefit from that is a housing authority. It's just in a bad location. I've lived there for 30 years, and I wouldn't even let my daughter go down there. Matter of fact, I'm not even went down there, and I lived over 30 years. I mean, it's a better benefit for them. It wouldn't be the road. There's not even a road down to it. I mean, it's just down on the corner. It happened a long time ago. They had a playground there, and they took the playground away, and I think I believe they can do something with that. That's what I'm thinking.
Couldn't the housing project purchase it as opposed to giving away property?
I think this was just an effort to clean it up, if I remember correctly.
It is.
I think it's just a legal, I think we've already technically.
The housing authority has a deed. It's their property. The problem was there is a reversion in the deed which says if the property were ever not to be a playground, then it would revert to the city. That reversion is so vague, I think you could reasonably interpret to say that if the housing authority would put a playground there in 50 years from now, it would still be theirs. So, but they asked that we deed it to them to clear up the question whether it would ever revert back to the city. So right now, the housing authority owns it. This would be that cleaned up the title.
If they own it, why do we have to do a quick claim?
Well, as Ms. Bell, Attorney Bell suggested, they need it cleaned up for HUD. HUD always, that their regulations are so strict that the mere possibility that they might lose it in the future causes them problems with HUD.
We could do it for Habitat Humanity as well.
To do that, then
I think we'd have to file for a reversion.
Yeah, they would have to deed it back to us, which would cause them even more problems, I suspect. But
Honestly, so would they.
You have a motion.
Any other discussion? Do we have a second? Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item C, discussing the police civil service request.
Mayor, I'd like to say, I don't think we ever received until, I believe it's in here now, I don't think we got the information until this evening. Is that right? It wasn't.
I hadn't received anything till I'm here.
I mean, I think we can discuss it, but I think as far as the discussion goes regarding the information we received, I've not had time to look at it, and pretty confident that no one else has either.
Any other discussion, or?
So you're suggesting to put this on a workshop, or to look at it at a workshop, or?
Unless y'all want to make a decision based on this, sitting there looking at this one piece of paper or discuss it tonight, then I would definitely think that we need to look at this.
You want to make a motion to go to the workshop?
City Alderman, City Council. I'm on the Civil Service Board, and at our workshop, we discussed all this, and this is the proof that we came up with, or the recommendations that other cities our size is way ahead of us on salaries. Okay, that's why we lose so many good police officers here. We're not asking for raise immediately, we're just asking you all to consider this thing at your next meeting or next our meeting on your budget. But as you say, the police officers do a good job in this town, and we feel like that they ought to be brought up compared to other cities our size on a raise and equal to our fire department. And we know that the fire department has a dangerous job, so does the police officers. I mean, they get a call, they don't know what they're going to run into. But this was our survey that we did to give you all some figures on what's going on in other towns, But you can see that we're kind of out of line with everybody else compared to, say, White Pine over there. We're not asking for nothing right now, we just want you all to consider this in your future meetings. And we did spend some time on this, and we're still working, to get it equal to everything. But our chairman couldn't be here tonight, so I told her that I would see that you all got a copy of it, which I didn't get until today. So I haven't had much time to look at it myself, but I did go over it, and you can see from the figures yourself that we are behind. I'd be glad to answer any questions you all have.
Well, I just like to say, I think we all agree, especially based on the discussion the other night at the workshop, they're way underpaid, and it is hard to keep officers. I think that, speaking for me especially, I think we really understand that. And going forward, I think we want to do a salary adjustment. Obviously, getting the information tonight just makes it difficult. If you just got it tonight, I think you can sort of agree with it.
I agree with
It's tough to sit up here and make a decision based on this getting tonight. But I feel confident in saying that everybody sitting up here really wants to look at a salary adjustment for the police department and all they do. I think everybody up here realizes that they do an outstanding job in the city of Newport. So if it'd be okay, I think that we would like to address it in a workshop again and talk specifically about the numbers. If anybody else has, that's just my opinion, but if that'd be okay, I think that invite y'all back to the workshop and let's talk about it, and then we can discuss maybe specific numbers and what city council can.
That's all the Civil Service Board is asking for, just consideration of this.
Well, I know it took some time to put this together, so we appreciate it, and I do. So if that's okay with you, then Mayor, I'll make the motion to just move it to the next.
I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
yes.
Opposed is no.
Can you get a total number on that, Scott,
Yes, sir.
That'll be on what date is that start? The next workshop?
October 4th.
Okay, item D is consideration of captain pay.
Does the council know about the captain's pay?
Yeah, I think that's what we discussed at the workshop.
This is the 38-cent thing.
That's it, yes.
Well, I think in the discussion we had on that, anybody that's promoted to a sergeant or whatever the rank might be, under the guidelines that we work with now, they're all to get the same pay.
For the captains, it was equalization of pay.
Right.
Because it was the last council who said equal work for equal pay. So therefore, we need to do, anyone that's got ranked, their pay needs to be evened out. And even to this day, I have where Ricky Parton, one of the sergeants, the newest one that has got promoted, he is not receiving equal pay.
Now, that's separate from this, right?
Separate.
Well, I think what I just presented you would be an equalization of the entire department. It would bring the captains to equal pay, the sergeants to equal pay, and all the patrolmen to equal pay. And that'd be separated by longevity, which I think was the original intent of the previous council.
That's the total amount, right?
That's the expenditure, that shows each officer's increase by position and the equalization of pay.
Just for the record, this is a little different than what we discussed at the workshop.
I think all that was mentioned at the workshop was the captain's pay, but I can't in good conscience stand here and ask for equalization in one rank and not ask for my patrolman and sergeant partner.
I think what Kathy said, I agree, and I think we need to fix it and be done with it. Does any of this have any back pay in it?
No, that's what it'll cost to elevate those pays.
Scott, where do we stand on paying this if we vote to do it? This $64,750.40.
That's for a year?
That's for a year.
Is that for a whole year?
That brings it up equal now, and then in the next budget, we'd have to budget as equal pay.
Right now, it'd be very difficult. I mean, I understand that they certainly deserve this and earn it and everything, but without additional cuts in the budget or additional revenues generated, at this point in the fiscal year, the $64,750 would make it very difficult.
The funds being available
It's too early.
the 30th?
Right now, it's really early because, we're only in the first quarter of our fiscal year, so it's very difficult to tell. We had a fairly good summer, but not enough to cover $65,000.
What about if we address maybe the captains at this point?
Yes, sir.
We discussed the other night, 47, 42.
Yes, we could absorb the captains, and for that matter, we're dealing with one sergeant, so we could absorb that, and we make adjustments like we do every year. Sometimes, finance department does a lot of work to squeeze here and pay extra here, so the approximately, what is that? 7,200, 6,200, we could handle it. Yes, we could handle
I
it.
think it was kind of a figure that we were looking at close to that at the workshop.
Well, I'm bringing up something we're looking at, and if we get it passed to the state legislature, we're in the process.
Yes.
I don't want to say, but if we get that passed, but we might have some money there for it. I don't want to guarantee it, but we're looking at new revenue.
Well, I represent, obviously, y'all know I represent the entire police department, and again, I just want to reiterate, I can't, in good conscience, ask for one and not for all, but we will take anything, at your grace, whatever you give, we'll be glad to implement.
First year.
We have the 6,200.
We could make that work.
Captains and the sergeants. Then we can come back and pick up the patrol.
And we can make a budget if we get this passed. Scott knows what I'm talking about, but we're working on it, and give the patrolman hope maybe we'll get this and it'll work out. But we're in the process.
If we've got the money, I'll make the motion to do the captains and the sergeant, and look at the patrolmen, because it's a lot to line them up there, to look at them to bring them up to where they should be also.
Okay, we got a motion.
Okay, if it wasn't properly licked the first time, and each time we have to go back, it gets further out of scale. And we truly appreciate you all giving us consideration to try to balance this once and for all.
Well, we're doing, 7 people, consider 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, is that right? Am I counting that right? 12 patrolmen? So if we get 7 out of the way, we've got 12 left to work the money deal some way to get them brought up to everybody else.
We appreciate anything y'all can do. Like I say, I stand here representing the entire department.
But I would ask you, Chief, if you will make it clear to those guys that I think that what everybody up here saying is that we want them to be paid as well. It's just, we don't have the money right now, but I think if they understand and can be just a little patient, I think we will find a way to do that.
I think they all will appreciate the opportunity to know at least there's some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah,
If we can do a few at a time and get these 7 lined up, then, it's not going to be as much on us at one time to do 12 more.
well, it's understandable that you all would want the money, and you all do deserve the money, because whether it be a patrol stopping you walk up to the side of the vehicle and there's a chance, you don't know what's behind that darkened window, or whether you go to a domestic and there's always weapons or whatever, you do have a very hard job. You're very deserving.
We've got a motion,
I'll second it.
and there's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none.
I'd like to do one other thing. I'd like for Parks and Rec, while we're doing this now, I'd like for Parks and Rec and Ben to get his numbers together to bring everybody to equal in those 2 departments also.
Absolutely.
But now
Look at all of that at one
for
time.
clarification, the street department and maybe some of Tim's guys, some of them have different certifications, and
Right, but
it's not fair to those guys who worked harder to get certifications and to do
agree, but
run
I
other
can show
equipment.
you.
But the department heads can figure that out, I think.
Right, we got 4 trash men and they all make something different.
Right. Can we get a total on those 2 numbers, Scott, right quick?
Gentlemen,
62 something.
Ms. Kathy, on behalf of my sergeant, Parton, and the captains, I do want to thank you for your time and consideration and helping us get this started. And on behalf of the patrolmen, I thank you for giving us a little ray of hope.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
63, 23, 20.
63, 23,
20.
thank you, Phil.
Okay, item E, consideration of authorizing accumulated sick leave for Sheila Blankenship. We have a
I'll
motion.
make the motion.
Have a second?
Yes.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item F, consideration to Manasubiku request to rezone property on 118 English Street.
My question is, on the map that I got from Mark there earlier, that, I don't know what I'm doing with it. No, it's in color, so I can see it right here. We have 2 lots there that are on here to be rezoned, and I guess the first lot is Miss Martin. Is she here? And my understanding is she does not want her property rezoned.
Correct.
So we're gonna skip her, move up one piece of property and rezone that, only that one parcel there. But we had all talked about this in the past. If we can't take it all, then we're not gonna take any. I don't see why we keep moving around to try to pick up one piece of property and rezone that piece of property. If we're gonna rezone the whole area, I can understand it, but I just don't see one piece of property being rezoned. So I'll make a motion that we don't rezone any of this and leave it at that.
I second it.
We have a second. Have any discussion? All those, yes.
I'd like to say one thing, is I see Manny here, I mean, we offered to give him the opportunity to speak, so
That's fine.
I think we need to give him the opportunity to speak.
I think, Mark Robinson already explained the Mrs. Martin and Mr. Kilpin about my purpose to change the zone. explicitly, and it's my first experience to deal with the city council. I don't have much to say, but that's giving your consideration, because whatever I do business, I will not disturb create business that disturb the room, because this is my moral or my ethics, that I live in the city for 30-some years. And when I heard that the city need money, that means you need more business in the city. If you don't have business, you don't have money, you don't have revenue, this one thing. But at the same time, you got to keep peace for community to make them happy, to keep happiness in the community. I understand that, but therefore I leave in your consideration that whatever you decide, I can live with it. But to me, I like to do some business that benefit to the community, such as daycare center, which is to benefit to many families that have to go to work to get a job. There's nothing I think. I think that there might be some misunderstanding that I will open restaurant and sell beer, sell whiskey, and make noise, lighting like that. That against my philosophy and my moral ethic, so I don't do that. It will not happen. So I leave it up to you all, because this Martin, I live nearby the house for 35 years, the property. And son-in-law take care of my property too, so I never disturbed her, she never been disturbed by me. And I miss on border, Mr. Kilton, just a very small piece, which is, if there would be some disturbance, I can move from the back 20 feet, for his property. So his property is not connect with mine at all, even with your business. This is all what I can say. I can say more. Not have anything more to say.
What I would like to say is, despite the fact that I think that Manny will do what he says, it's a neighborhood, and obviously like Freddie said, if we rezone one piece, we'll have to rezone it all. And despite the fact that I think that your intentions are good, at some point that's going to continue to be rezoned, and somebody else might not have those same intentions. It may someday be something else. I don't think that, me personally, I could support it either. It's just, I think that given the fact that that's a neighborhood and they've lived there a long time, those families been there a long time, and just as you have had, maybe early on, if y'all would have discussed it or something, due to the fact that I think the proposal's a daycare center, maybe it would have been resolved, I don't know. But I think for us sitting up here, that due to the fact that the neighborhood doesn't want it, and the fact that we can't guarantee them that it'll always be a daycare and not bother them, I know that I couldn't support it. But I believe you, and I think you have good intentions and will do what you say, but the next person might not do that.
We've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Next, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll make a motion. Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
We're voting on what now?
The consent agenda, those 4 items. All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Next items, garbage truck bids. Yeah, that's Scott, and that's all of that.
And I'm going to defer to Ben, Willie, and Skip are all here. And I asked them to take every bit of this information we've received today and read it word for word and be able to make a recommendation. But they have been studying on this for quite some time, so I would like to ask Ben, have you discussed it with Willie and Skip?
Some.
Okay.
I discussed it some. We would like to do it.
Could we please get all three of you gentlemen at the podium? That way we can have a good discussion on this.
I got one question. What did we spend on the garbage trucks last month to repair them? Last count I had was $5,200, and we're still, it was down 3 days this week. So we're gonna say we're $10,000 already.
And counting.
Every day.
Skip, what do you think? You look like you're enthused to come up with that.
Well, I'm gonna put it like this, we gotta have some equipment. If the city council and the taxpayers are expecting the job to be done, okay? If that job's gonna be done, we're gonna have some equipment to do it with. And it's not only becoming, not having equipment to do it with, but what it's gonna turn into is somebody's gonna get hurt with the equipment we've got. It's wore out. We're patching on top of patches to try to keep these vehicles on the road. And we need trucks. Yesterday, our truck that I drive was out of service 3 days last week out of 5. So,
What's your request from this bid? And looking at the bids, what's your recommendation to the council?
well, I've looked over the bids. Me and Skip has actually went and looked at trucks, what we could find. There is a company here, there's a representative of the company here tonight, there's representatives from, three companies here tonight. We've got one company that can have trucks here tomorrow. We've got 10 other bids that you're looking anywhere from 3 to 6 months. You've got a transfer station that's going to be in operation in 2.5 weeks. So, we've got a transfer station that's going to be finished in 2.5 weeks and no equipment to put trash into it for 6 months.
Well, which one can have the truck here tomorrow?
Obviously municipal equipment.
It's municipal equipment. They're actually located in Louisville, Kentucky. Me and Skip have visited their facility. The trucks are there and road ready.
The truck has everything on it that we've asked for.
Yes, sir.
Do y'all like the truck?
Yes.
Is it any different than the other trucks?
Not really. They're basically, the trucks are basically all going to be the same. I mean, there's a few differences in them, but the difference comes in, I don't know, one's got 250 horsepower, one's got 280 horsepower. You know, either truck is going to do the job. And these are trucks. They're not, we've got F-450s what we're using right now. These are actual trucks. They're on a big chassis, they're heavy trucks, something's going to last, something's going to hold up.
Well, I'll wait 120 days and you got one on the lot, two sitting on the lot ready to go.
I'll recommend to council that we accept their recommendation.
I made a motion.
And I'll second it.
Any discussion?
And that is municipal equipment.
All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. Come on.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
you wrote for
Let me shake somebody's hand.
Does any of the other companies that represent here, would you like to say anything? I don't know who you are. Yes.
Mayor.
Sure.
I'm David Wade. I represent Big Orange Sales and Service. We're located in Knoxville, Tennessee, and the body that I bid is called Curahee, built right down here in Toccoa, Georgia, about 2 hours from you. In Knoxville, we have a fully staffed service truck with parts and trained personnel. My bid was, well, my low bid was about $14,000 per truck, cheaper than the one you all just passed on. That kind of surprises me in this economy today, because as one of the workers made a comment, someone had 250 engine and some had 280. I do not know what my competitor has, but your specifications call for a 280 engine. That's what you put out. There were several questions that I have within the specs, like the basic specs only call for prime painting. And I believe the representative would, I asked him if he painted it with a finish coat. Yes. Mine has an automotive finish, alkyd enamel. You asked for an option of an Imron. I don't know whether you're buying Imron or not. We have a body that is a lightweight. When I say lightweight, it's high tensile steel. It weighs 7,500 pounds. The compaction on it, the way it is constructed, is enough to pack 1,000 pounds to the yard and stay within the 26,000 GVW range. City of Newport was kind enough that I worked with the department last year. You bought a F750 chassis with a knuckle boom loader and bed on it. And that truck had 280 horsepower Cummins engine. The requirement that the Public Works has told me for the last 2 years is that they wanted a big enough engine. A 250 in our discussions was not large enough, so we went to specs are 280, and that's what I've supplied. So I wonder if you're buying a truck less than what your specifications call for. I don't know. You have the documents there. But there is a big difference when you start looking at anywhere from $7,000 to $14,000 per truck difference. But I noticed it went through very quickly.
I tell you, if we wait 100 days to get a truck, we've spent $5,200 on what we've got in the less than a month. If we wait another 100 days to get these trucks, then we're going to be where the other guy's bid, I don't know who he was anyway. So we're already there. We're already at $102,000 with what we've got, adding the money to the trucks we've got.
So I would agree with those mathematics. But are you spending that much per month, every month? $5,200? Well, see, this is why I encouraged them a year ago to prepare specs in the bid, and we brought a truck by and we demoed. The Public Works people enjoyed the body and the packing density, and we picked up the garbage 2.5 hours quicker than what y'all had done before. This right here is very late in the stage. The transfer station has been delaying for the reason you've not been bidding, I'm told, on the garbage trucks. So it looks like the city was put in a predicament to make this decision. When they asked if I could bring a demo up here about a month ago, well, my competitor had it, but we did not have a demo because we're selling as fast as we build them. But our design is far superior.
I disagree with that, Mr. Walker. Your truck only been in production for 3 years. Our truck's been in production since 1971. It's an American company, built right now, I think, a long time. And municipal equipment has been, as you well know, as past employed. We've been in business in local Kentucky since 1971, if I'm correct. And And we cover all of Kentucky, southern Indiana, Tennessee, southwest Virginia. We have a large staff, as your people have been to our facility, our top, and we have our service manager, the president. They look at the actual trucks that we get, they're on the lot. We have one down here, we actually haul garbage, hose it, for you all, and then load the truck. They did a good job. We know what to do, we know to do the job, the city what it expects, and we go where we need to go. And Mr. Parker did the job well, has excellent warranty behind it, and we have an excellent service department. We have a facility at Knoxville, also our office. We have 6 service trucks, several servicemen in-house and field service to come to you when you. We also have one truck today. We have parts inventory, we have freight factory support. And Mike Farrell is the president of Municipal Equipment, my boss, and he stands behind every product that he sells. And we make sure our visits, when we sell our product, we don't walk away and never come back. We come back and check on it quite often. We're doing these guys and this. I've been down here several times in the last year to visit with them, talk to them about what they need and guys, and got to know the city of Newport well. It's a beautiful city. And we appreciate your both tonight and look forward to doing business with you, and we'll do a fine job for you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
If I can ask you, Larry, is that office in Knoxville you referred to, is that staffed?
It's the one that you bought when you worked for us. It's an office. It's presently not staffed. It may be in the future, but I'll get to it.
You know, I think we can stand here and complain about each other's truck all night or where the office is or whatever, but, you know, we voted. I don't think anybody's going to turn back now, so.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and thank you for Newport for the past business.
Thank you. Any other representative from another truck? Any comments from citizens? We have a